Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to try to turn this old cheap Harbor Freight Anvil into something useful in the shop. So the first thing I want to do is reshape the horn. This horn is really big and bulky and I want a more cone shaped horn. So I marked the center and about 1/4 inch from either side, and then I draw the triangle and I'll cut all the material out with the angle grinder. My main anvil has more of a football shaped horn, so having a littler cone shaped horn should give me some more options. So I use my angle grinder with a cutoff wheel and cut along the line straight down as far as I can get. And then I cut about 1/4 inch in the side where the step's going to meet the horn. And then I use the cutoff wheel to cut from the bottom to try to meet that cut from the top. I use the hacksaw to try to meet those two cuts. And then I'll just cut the chunks off until I get further and further down. So now that I cut all the material out of the sides, I'll mark 1/4 inch from the bottom and then draw a line to the tip of the horn, and then we'll cut all the material out of the bottom. Now that I have the sides cut out and the bottom cut out, I can cut in the 45-degree bevels on all the corners and then round everything over. So right here I use a cutoff wheel to notch in where the horn's going to meet the step. I try to make sure I don't cut too deep right here. If you cut too deep, you're going to end up having to shape that horn down too small. After using the cutoff wheel, I switched to the grinding wheel. That way I can finish shaping the horn and get a really nice transition between the horn and the step. I want to remove the paint, so I'm going to take this logo off. Now I'll go back to the grinding wheel and clean up the horn and remove all the paint. It's not completely necessary to do this part, but I wanted to clean off the paint and get it down to metal. So when I was cleaning up the paint, I decided to grind in 45-degree bevels on all the corners. And then I decided to just round everything over completely. So I did a 22.5-degree bevel on either side. And then from there, it was real easy to just blend everything together. Here's an example right here. There's the 45-degree bevel. And then right here, I'm cutting in that 22.5-degree bevel. And then from there, it's real easy to just round over each section. So once I have everything roughed in, I'll switch to the flap disc and I'll clean up the transition between the horn and the step and all the rest of the surfaces. So to add more use to this anvil, I wanted to put a few different radii along the edges, and that'll give me more options while I'm forging. I can switch from my main anvil and come over here and work off these different edges. So I start by putting in that 45-degree bevel, and then here I put in that 22.5-degree bevel on either side, and then once you have that, it's real easy to round everything over. I start from the center and blend that together first, and then I blend it into the top and side. And then on the front part, I do a smaller radius. And then on this side of the anvil, I decided to do kind of a medium radius along the whole side. I figure I'll wait and see, and if I do need a bigger radius later on any specific project, I'll just pull out the grinder and cut it in on the fly. Now I'm going to use the files to clean up all those corners that I ground in. The files work really well to get all those imperfections out of the corners. It definitely took a little more time to get the paint out with the file, but I was committed. And here I use the round file to clean up the area between the horn and the step, and then I switch to the flat file to clean up the rest of the horn. Alright, so I think I'm done with the anvil for now, so the next step is to build a stand for it and mount it to the stand, and then I can start building hardy tools for it. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to use this anvil. The hardy hole on my anvil is huge. It measures about 1.25 inches from this side and 1 1/8 inches from this side. On this anvil, the hardy hole is a lot smaller. This one measures 7/8 by 7/8. So now it's going to be a lot easier for me to make hardy tools, and I can make the hardy tools out of high carbon steel, so the fact that the face of this anvil is cast iron won't matter. So the question is, did I turn this anvil into something useful in the shop? Well, I guess it's subjective, but for me, I do feel like it's going to be useful. I definitely wouldn't use it as my main anvil, but that being said, I really like the fact that the horn is smaller and pointier. I can use the step, I can use the different radii on the edges, or I can mount my guillotine tool to it. But I think my favorite thing is I'll be able to make hardy tools a lot easier now. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, especially to the end. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I'll definitely get back to you. I read all my comments, so if you do have a question, I'll definitely get back to you. If you liked the video, please click the like button and subscribe for more videos. On the next video, I'm going to build a stand for this anvil, and then I'll be building some hardy tools for it too.